For the last 5 years, every major car brand has been shouting from the rooftops that gas engines were going extinct. They promised that by 2026, we'd all be silently gliding around in high-tech battery pods. But if you look at the showrooms today, the vibe has shifted from the future is here to we have a massive problem. Between the sudden disappearance of those $7,500 tax credits in late 2025 and a massive wave of buyers walking back to the gas pumps, the industry is in a total tailspin. We are witnessing legendary nameplates, futuristic SUVs, and even the truck of the future being sent to the scrap heap. Some of these models didn't even survive 12 months on the lot. It is messy, it's expensive, and it is incredibly controversial. I'm Nick, and today we are breaking down the top 10 electric cars that are officially canceled or discontinued for 2026. Number 1, the Acura ZDX. We're kicking things off with a vehicle that set a record for all the wrong reasons. The Acura ZDX has been axed after just one single model year. Think about the sheer scale of that failure. It takes billions of dollars to design a car, set up the factories, train the mechanics, and run global ad campaigns, all for the car to be killed off in less than 365 days. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because Acura tried this once before. Back in the early 2010s, the original gas-powered ZDX was a strange, fastback SUV that left everyone confused. It managed to limp along for 4 years. This new electric version, it couldn't even make it to its first birthday. But here's the exposed truth you won't hear in the brochures. The ZDX wasn't actually an Acura. It was a General Motors product wearing an Acura branded suit. It was built on GM's Ultium battery platform. When the partnership between the two companies started to go south and the sales numbers came back as a total disaster, Acura realized they were better off cutting their losses immediately. They're already pivoting to a new project called the RSX prototype, trying to scrub the memory of the ZDX from their history. It's a classic case of a legacy luxury brand trying to take a shortcut into the EV market and getting severely burned. If you actually bought one of these, you now own a rare piece of automotive history, or a very heavy, very expensive paperweight when it comes time to trade it in. Number 2, the Ford F-150 Lightning. This next one really hurts because it was supposed to be the chosen one. When Ford first pulled the silk sheet off the F-150 Lightning, the world went absolutely wild. It looked like a normal truck. It could hit 60 miles per hour in 4 seconds, and it could literally power your entire house during a blackout. This was the vehicle that was supposed to convince the real truck buyers in Heartland America to finally ditch the gas station. But as the months rolled by, the horror stories began to flood the internet. We saw viral videos of owners trying to tow a simple boat in the winter and getting maybe 80 miles of range before the battery went flat. We watched the price tags jump by $10,000, then $15,000, making it unaffordable for the average worker. And then the final blow landed. The demand just vanished. Ford has officially confirmed that the all-electric Lightning is being discontinued for 2026. However, there is a massive twist here. The Lightning name isn't going away forever, but the truck as we know it is dead. The next version is being transformed into a range-extended EV. This means they are literally shoving a small gas engine under the hood to act as a portable generator for the battery. It is a total admission of defeat. Ford realized that a pure battery-powered truck simply doesn't work for the way people actually use trucks in the real world. The shocking truth is that the most hyped vehicle of the last decade ended up being a giant hole in Ford's wallet. Number 3, the Genesis electrified G80. Genesis has been on an absolute tear lately. They've been building cars that look more expensive than a Mercedes or a BMW, but for a much better price. So, when they announced the electrified G80, people were genuinely excited. It was a stunning machine with an interior that felt like a private jet, and it was fast enough to pin you to your seat. But there was a problem, a massive one. You almost never saw them on the road. Because of the way the batteries were sourced, and the fact that it was built in South Korea, it didn't qualify for the new tax credits. This made it way more expensive than the gas version. By mid-2025, Genesis was struggling to sell even a handful of these a month. In fact, in July 2025, they moved only 10 units in the entire United States. That isn't just a slow start, that's rounding error territory for a major car company. For 2026, Genesis has officially pulled the plug on the G80 EV in America. They're calling it a strategic adjustment, but let's be real, it's a cancellation. While the rest of the world gets a fancy new long wheelbase version, the US is being cut off. They are shifting all their focus to SUVs, because at the end of the day, nobody wants an $80,000 electric sedan with okay range when the charging stations are still a nightmare to find. It was a beautiful car, but it's being sent to the shadow realm because the math just didn't add up. Number 4, the Nissan Ariya. Nissan was actually the first company to bring a mass market EV to the world with the Leaf. They had a 10-year head start on basically everyone else. They spent nearly half of that decade teasing the Nissan Ariya. We saw concepts, we saw almost ready models, and we saw commercials for it for years before it finally showed up. But by the time the Ariya actually hit the showrooms, the world had already moved on. It was too late, it was too expensive, and the competition from brands like Tesla and Hyundai was just too fierce. Even after Nissan slashed prices by over $8,000 in 2025 to try and breathe some life into the model, it just wasn't enough to save it. For 2026, the Ariya is being retired from the US lineup. This is a massive failure for a company that used to lead the pack. Now, Nissan is left with the aging Leaf, which is like trying to win a marathon while wearing flip-flops. The Ariya was supposed to be their new flagship, the car that proved Nissan was still a leader. Instead, it's just another footnote in the what went wrong files. They are now desperately shifting resources to a redesigned Leaf, hoping that a cheaper price tag can do what the Ariya couldn't. Number 5, the Tesla Model S and Model X. This is the one that is going to make the internet absolutely explode. The Tesla Model S and Model X are officially being discontinued. Let that sink in for a second. The Model S is literally the reason we even have an EV market today. It was the car that proved an electric vehicle could be cool, incredibly fast, and something people actually craved. But Elon Musk isn't a fan of nostalgia. He's officially decided to end production of the S and X at the Fremont factory to make room for something else, Optimus. Yes, the humanoid robots. Tesla is reconfiguring their entire production line to build robots instead of their legendary flagship cars. Sales for these older models have been sliding for years. In 2025, they made up only about 3% of Tesla's total deliveries. To Elon, these cars are old tech. He is betting the entire future of the company on autonomous cybercabs and AI-powered robots. It's a move that feels absolutely insane, but it shows that even the most successful EVs have an expiration date in the eyes of the man who built them. The kings are dead, and the robots are taking over the factory. Number 6, the Volkswagen ID Buzz. We waited nearly a decade for the electric version of the iconic hippie van. Volkswagen first teased us with the concept back in 2017, and it felt like it took forever to actually arrive in the US and Canada. People were ready to fall in love with the ID. Buzz, it was cute, it had that retro charm, and it was supposed to be the ultimate eco-friendly road trip machine. But as soon as the price tags hit the windows, the mood changed. Starting at over $60,000 for a van with a range that barely hits 230 miles was a tough pill for families to swallow. For 2026, Volkswagen has officially announced a pause for the ID Buzz in North America. They are skipping the entire model year to let dealers clear out the 2025 inventory that is currently sitting on lots, gathering dust. Now, VW claims it will return for 2027, but if you look at the hidden details, the situation is grim. The company is currently battling massive software glitches and a supply chain in Europe that is basically falling apart. Calling it a pause is a polite way of saying they can't afford to lose any more money on it right now, the ID. Buzz got caught in a toxic mix of high prices and low demand. It's a heartbreak for the fans who waited years, only to have the rug pulled out after just a few months of it being on sale. Number 7, the Dodge Charger Daytona Banshee. Dodge fans are a different breed of car person. They don't just want a car, they want a machine that smells like gasoline and sounds like a thunderstorm. So, when Dodge announced they were killing the legendary Hemi 5.8 and replacing it with an all-electric Charger Daytona SRT Banshee, the exposed backlash was instant and brutal. Dodge tried to fix the silent problem by adding something called a Fretsonic chambered exhaust. It's basically a massive external speaker system designed to pump out fake engine roars. It didn't work. Enthusiasts saw right through it. Reports from inside the industry now say that pre-orders for the top-tier 1,000 horsepower Banshee were so low that Dodge has officially scrapped the 2026 launch of the full EV flagship. The rumors from the factory floor suggest a desperate backtrack. Dodge is reportedly scrambling to fit more Hurricane gas-powered engines into the chassis instead of batteries. The Banshee was supposed to be the future of American muscle, but it turned out to be a disaster that Dodge is now trying to distance itself from. Muscle cars are all about soul. And as it turns out, you simply cannot download soul into a battery pack. Number 8, the Fisker Ocean. This isn't just a story about a car being canceled. It's a story about a total company meltdown. The Fisker Ocean was hyped as the Tesla killer. It was designed by the famous Henrik Fisker and featured wild ideas like a solar sky roof that charged while you parked and a screen that could rotate for movie nights. But the reality of owning one was a living nightmare. Owners started reporting that their cars would literally roll away while parked or lose all power while driving at 65 miles per hour on the highway. The software was so buggy that even the key fobs would stop working, leaving people locked out of their own $70,000 vehicles. By mid-2024, Fisker filed for bankruptcy and production has been indefinitely suspended. The most shocking part of this failure? To pay off their debts, Fisker sold their remaining fleet of thousands of cars to a leasing company for about $14,000 each. Imagine paying full price for your Ocean, only to see its value vanish into thin air overnight. It is one of the biggest exposed failures in the history of cars, leaving thousands of owners with vehicles that no one will service, no one will fix, and absolutely no one will buy. Number 9, the Mazda MX-30. Mazda is a company that truly loves the art of driving, but it's very clear they didn't love their first electric vehicle, the MX-30. This car was pretty much doomed from the moment it touched American soil. To start, Mazda only sold it in California. Then, there was the range. It had a battery that could only take you 100 miles on a full charge. In a world where even a basic Tesla can go 250 miles or more, 100 miles isn't just low, it was accused of being a total joke. Who wants a modern car that can't even handle a round trip between two nearby cities without stopping to charge for an hour? The market's response was brutal. In the first half of 2024, Mazda managed to sell only 66 units in the entire country. Let that sink in for a second. 66 cars. Your local high school probably has more students in one hallway than Mazda had buyers for this vehicle. For 2026, Mazda has finally put this thing out of its misery and officially pulled it from the lineup. It serves as a loud reminder to every other car brand. If you're going to compete in the electric space, you can't do it half-heartedly. The MX-30 was what we call a compliance car, something built just to satisfy government rules rather than to actually please a customer. Buyers saw right through the gimmick. And now, it's headed to the automotive graveyard. Number 10, the Polestar 2. Our final entry is actually a bit of a tragedy because the Polestar 2 is a genuinely great car. It's fast, it's built as tough as a tank, and it looks like a futuristic Volvo. Most people who drive them actually love them, but it had a fatal flaw that had nothing to do with its motor or its battery. It was built in China. In late 2025, the US government decided to protect local factories by slapping a massive 100% tariff on any electric vehicle imported from China. That move effectively doubled the price of the Polestar 2 overnight. A car that used to be a good deal suddenly became twice as expensive, making it impossible for dealers to sell. Polestar is now in a desperate scramble to move their production lines to South Carolina. But for the Polestar 2 as we know it, the clock has run out. Orders have been completely halted for the 2026 model year in North America. It is a revealed example of how global politics and trade wars can kill off a car that people actually enjoyed. While the company hopes to bounce back with new models built on American soil, the original Polestar 2 is officially a goner for now. So, what does all of this mean for us? Is the electric car dead? Not exactly, but the hype is definitely dead. We are moving out of the era of pure battery dreams and into the age of the hybrid. Large car companies like Ford, Toyota, and GM are all realizing the same thing. People want the gas savings of an electric motor, but they still want the security of a gas tank. The graveyard of 2026 is full of cars that tried to force a future that we just weren't ready for yet. Whether it was the offed Tesla Model S or the exposed disaster of the Fisker Ocean, the lesson is the same. The market is the boss, not the CEOs in their glass offices. If a car doesn't work for your life, you won't buy it, no matter how much they tell you it's the future. What do you guys think about this list? Was there an EV on here that you actually wanted to buy? Or are you just happy to see gas engines making a comeback at places like Dodge? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one of them. I'm Nick. This is Nick's Car Review, and I'll see you in the next one.